Welcome, Gunrunner.
I don't really think that I need to go back and tell the story of Sega's last console to anyone. Now much beloved by the majority of retro gamers, the Dreamcast was Sega's last hope in the console arena, but was soundly destroyed by the PlayStation 2 juggernaut, and its failure caused the legendary company to leave the hardware market altogether. In more recent years, the system's cult following has led to an almost unbelievable number of incredibly interesting stories, from interviews with the people involved with it, to unreleased games, and even revolutionary hardware that never saw the light of day. And the latter is of particular note, because that's exactly what we'll be focusing on in this week's documentary. The year is 2001, and the Dreamcast's short-lived popularity was already on the decline. Sega had a new president who was openly declaring that the company should get out of the console business for good, and indeed it did, as later that year Sega announced it would stop manufacturing the Dreamcast altogether, and start developing and publishing games for rival systems. However, at the very same time, Sega had also signed a deal with a manufacturer in the UK to produce a piece of new technology that they claimed would not only revolutionise the way we played games, but also the way we watched TV too. This new technology would put Sega leaps ahead of the competition and make the PS2's much lauded DVD compatibility obsolete. So what is this amazing invention then, I hear you ask? Well, it's what we would now call a set-top box. In fact, it's a piece of technology that will no doubt seem very familiar to anybody who owns a modern-day PS4 or Xbox One. Leeds-based Pace technology already had a history of producing set-top boxes for use with satellite and cable broadcasting, and one of the early pioneers of the PVR format. The only piece of the puzzle they had missing was integrating a games console into the design, similar to the new on-DVD console hybrid that had been released the year before. But Pace's Dreamcast-based box would provide so much more than the new one ever had, with the capability to store both games and movies on a 40GB internal hard drive, a digital marketplace where you could download content, and even game streaming over the internet, something that has only become a thing in more recent years. All the technology was already available, as all this new device did was combine Pace's existing high-end boxes with the guts of a Sega Dreamcast. This meant that they were able to reach the prototype stage very quickly and show the device off to potential customers.
As every true patriot knows, Britain is best. Our class, our history, our cuisine. All of Europe begs us to join them. Why? We go and visit them every summer. For centuries, we have beaten the Continentals. Now, it's time to do them again. Play the Euros head-to-head online through your Dreamcast, and let's show them who's the daddy.
Clients such as Comcast, Telewest and Sky were ready and eager to offer these new boxes to their customers, and deals were struck on this side too. It seemed a no-brainer for them, combining the existing functions of their set-top boxes with a host of new and exciting features. These companies planned to offer the unit on a subscription basis that would limit the use of TV-based functions, as well as downloads, but not impact your ability to play games. In a rather unusual decision, it had been decided from the very start of the design phase that the games were to be downloaded onto the system's hard drive, meaning there was no support for the Dreamcast's much maligned GD-ROM format. While this was a great way of combating the piracy that had become rife in the Dreamcast scene, it would have also alienated existing Dreamcast owners who might be interested in upgrading. However, neither Pace or Sega saw existing Dreamcast owners as their target audience. This device was very much aimed at people who wanted a premium TV service, but also had a passing interest in playing video games. The high price point would also put people off simply looking for a new console, and the need for a fat wallet would become even clearer as we analyse further, as all the games available for the Dreamcast Pace combo had to be downloaded from the internet, and this would prove extremely costly. Remember, this was a time when most households were running on slow and expensive dial-up connections. Of course, this unit would feature a built-in high-speed, well, for the time anyway, modem to help with this. Sega and Pace had promised that up to 60 games would be available to download from launch, but this would all depend on your service provider. At early demonstrations of the unit, Sonic Adventure 2, Crazy Taxi and Ferrari 355 were all seen being launched from the system's custom interface and running from the internal hard drive, which cut down massively on loading times. Sega promised that any Dreamcast game could be adapted in this way.
Come on then, right.
Play Sonic Adventure together on Dreamcast. Up to 6 billion players.
Pace's marketing director, Andrew Wallace, made a number of bold statements about the new device. At the press event in New York, he claimed that the Sega's set-top box will have a wider appeal to users than today's games consoles and will attract a new market of casual gamers who typically spend less on gaming than today's enthusiasts. I also believe that the online gaming will benefit the companies because it's a cheaper means of games distribution than selling the discs. He then went on to explain the additional benefits of the box to the end user. This will include the ability to engage in multiplayer gaming with other set-top box owners, as well as the integration of TV broadcasts with interactive gaming. I mean, imagine if you could show motor racing on TV, then invite viewers to play the game on their TV set for $3 a time afterwards. You could then offer prizes to gamers who could achieve the best times. This very much sounds like an early plan to integrate many of the things that have only become standard for video games in more recent years, such as trophies, achievements, online leaderboards, and competing in esports. There were also plans to make much of this technology wireless, and even stream to other devices around the home. All of this in 2001, remember. So why was this revolutionary device cancelled then? Well, the reasons, as we often find, are many, but the official explanation that put out by Pace was the following. Unfortunately, the underlying technologies were on different timescales and unlikely to converge soon. While games consoles compete on bleeding-edge hardware, set-top boxes are focused on feature integration and cost reduction. There are both economic and technological difficulties. You can read between the lines a little here and guess that Sega choosing to leave the hardware business altogether was definitely the biggest factor, as well as the company's inability to put huge amounts of cash behind such a project.
Quiet! You will listen to these facts about Germany. Our economy is the strongest in Europe. Fact! The glorious sons of Germany are the most handsome. Fact! We all drive our efficient cars. Fact! Germany always wins. You will play me head-to-head online through your Dreamcast, as you say. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Another reason could be that one of the companies involved in developing the Pace box was a Sega subsidiary called Cross Technologies, who had been taken over by the Imagination Technologies Group in September of that year. This relationship had been formed through the design of the Power VR chip that powered the Dreamcast, and came to a close with this announcement. Perhaps the new owners didn't see the Pace box as a profitable venture. The timing of this announcement also makes sense with the project being officially canned just 2 months after the takeover in December 2001. Although the Dreamcast had already been long discontinued by this point anyway, so it could be purely coincidental. The Dreamcast Pace is yet another sad story of what could have been when it comes to Sega's last console, a system that promised so much and yet never got the chance to deliver more than a trickle of innovations. It joins a long list of fascinating but ultimately unreleased Dreamcast technology, including the zip drive, motion controllers and Sega Swatch. But as I always seem to say at the end of these videos, they are very much a story for another day. I've been the Laird, and I thank you for watching the story of the unreleased Dreamcast Pace, and I hope you enjoyed this fascinating flashback. If you want to see more just like it, then please make sure you subscribe to my channel and check out my Patreon, where you can get access to a host of exclusive content including downloads, extra videos, creative insight, and help me continue to entertain and enlighten you going forward. Before I go, I just wanted to thank all my loyal patrons, including Mr. Caboto, Carl Olsen, Thunder Fundington, Mark Lawrence, John DiLiberto, Keith, Larry Anderson and Scott Maguire. I've been the Laird, and I'll see you all again for another great story very soon.